Freddie literally is one of those kids that as soon as they graduate high school and go off to college, they don't come back. Carly Shay's not that great of a person as she thinks she is, and he was too good for both of them, if you ask me. Because something does not have cussing in it, just because something don't have nudity in it, that don't mean there isn't something wrong with it. Take a look at what your kids are watching. My main issue with Dan, like I've said before, is that he tries to make ignorance funny. He's here to drag a Dan the Footman because he's disgusting and I feel like he deserves nothing whatsoever.
No. I said no. You can kill all that right now. Like at this moment, stop.
Hey y'all, it's Harriyanna and I'm back with another video. Welcome to the pirate ship, Harry Hook's pirate ship. You're in for something. I don't know what you're in for, but you're in for something. Nails are not done today. I'm sorry, y'all. I am PMSing so hard right now. And I just been so fatigued and so tired. I just kind of been resting a lot today. As you guys know, I do work on weekends. I just kind of been resting a lot and like planning out the video. Didn't really have time to do my nails, so I do apologize because I know a lot of you guys see me talk with my hands and I'm sorry for that. If you don't know who I am, hi, I'm Harriyanna. I like to make content based on nostalgia, children and families entertainment, and the issues that revolve around that. I don't really like to talk about mainstream content unless it is like a kids or a family oriented show. Now, I know I said this before, like on my blog and whatnot, but a lot of y'all have been really rude to me, and I just ask you guys please to stop. I am human just like the rest of you. Like, I literally do content because I want to, but a lot of you guys have been really mean and have been very demanding of me over these last few weeks, and I just ask that you just please stop, because I have mentioned it plenty of times in other my videos, but it is clear that it's not getting to y'all, and this is my last time saying it. I'm not trying to be mean or anything, but y'all need to respect me like I respect y'all, okay? I am human. I am one pirate, exactly. I run this pirate ship. You are not my first mate. Got it? One last announcement before we get into the video. Please go over there and support me on Patreon if you can. And also, I have a buy me a coffee link. Because I know a lot of people do want to send me like one-time donations, but they don't want to like subscribe full-time for the Patreon. So you guys can buy me a coffee. Actually, mine is set to buy me a pizza, so I will have my buy me a coffee and buy me a Patreon down below. Now let's go ahead and get into the video. Today we are going to be talking about Dan the Footman. Dan the Footman. Y'all know I am always... Oh, one thing about this video is that it actually was really highly requested, and I've been wanting to talk about iCarly for a minute on my channel, but I didn't know exactly what to say about it, if that makes sense. But then a lot of you guys were like, you should really talk about how everyone treated Freddie, and I was like, you know what? Yes, because I was like, if I talk about Carly, talk about Sam, talk about I feel like it's just gonna be saying things that a lot of people have been saying already. But I was like, Freddie, I think Freddie is a good fit for me because I feel like his storyline and his dynamic were like the most complex, if you ask me. Truly not a lot right about Dan Schneider's work. We've been over this plenty of times. If you're new on the pirate ship, you know we are very anti-Dan Schneider over here. We do not care about that man. And to be honest, like, his shows honestly have such a negative impact on my generation. I am Generation Z, by the way, if you guys didn't know. His shows have had a horrible impact on us, and a lot of people are brainwashed into thinking that a lot of the stuff that happened in his shows were okay, and they really weren't. And you know, on the pirate ship, we are here to debunk that. We are very anti-Dan Schneider over here. Like, I've pointed out his misogyny in his work, and I pointed out the racism in his work. Today, we're really just going to be talking about abuse, like, just like a trigger warning for any of you. We're going to be talking about friendship abuse, relationship abuse, and child abuse. So Yeah, might be a long one. The outline's like 4 pages long. My longest one to date. I apologize, y'all. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. I know a lot of you guys don't like my longer formatted videos, but it's my pirate ship. I can do what I want. If you don't like, you can just hop off. I'm sorry. Walk the plank. Now, for those of you guys who don't know, because I'm just now finding out a lot of you guys don't know who Dan Schneider is and you guys watch me. Dan Schneider basically is a producer that used to work at Nickelodeon. He no longer works there with him anymore. They laid him off. Not really, if you ask me. Like, he's still getting paid because they're always airing his shows on air. But he's a former employee of Nickelodeon, and he has contributed to a lot of our childhoods. He's responsible for all your childhood shows that now are currently internet memes. Whew. It always baffles me how horrible people can make such great art. Like, we were talking about that in one of my film classes. It's sad, and I don't get it. This mess about Dan has been coming up until the recent years where we're finally acknowledging that a lot of his work is not right, and a lot of the things that went on behind the scenes of his projects were not okay. So we're here to debunk that here on the pirate ship, and it's not. Like, there are numerous jokes, I pointed out a whole video where I pointed out all the racism in his shows, and there are numerous misogynist jokes that are in there just played off for laughs. Like, I know, like, dark humor, yada, 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 but the weird thing about this is that all these situations deal with children. And this is being shown to children. You get what I'm saying? Okay. Like, it really honestly bothers me because I see a lot of y'all talking about it's a kid's show. Why are you taking it so seriously? It really honestly bothers me that y'all don't care what y'all kids are viewing. Please. Your little brothers and sisters, and I know parents watch me, please just take a look at what your kids are watching, okay? Because we will be talking about Freddie Benson today, as I mentioned earlier, and basically his storyline, because his entire storyline in iCarly is literally just him being abused by the people that supposedly love him. And this is why I believe Freddie Benson deserves better. Now, what is iCarly? I know a lot of you are clicking on this video because you know what iCarly is, but there are always people that don't know what I'm talking about, and they just like watching me. iCarly is basically an American sitcom, and it aired on Nickelodeon. It was about 3 kids that had a really, really bad web series. Yes, iCarly was a horrible show. Not the show iCarly. The show is amazing. Chef Kiss, 9 out of 10. iCarly is a quality television show. The show within the show called iCarly is trash. It's beyond horrible. I would not watch that show. There are so many different people talking about, like, y'all be real. If iCarly was a real show, would y'all watch it? And to be honest, technically, yes, because at the time being, like, iCarly came out, like, in 2017. Not 2017, 2007, and nobody was really making like web shows like that, and like really YouTube was like, you literally can post anything and you go viral, okay? People will watch literally anything on YouTube, so it makes sense why iCarly was so popular. And I truly think the main reason, because in the show it was popular, like in the show, I truly believe that the main reason why iCarly was so popular is because it was the only web series around. One thing I've always noticed about iCarly, though, especially when I got older, is that all the kids either have an absent parent and they have issues with their parent. Like, Carly, we never really saw her talk to her dad, but they did get along pretty well. And she lived with her older brother. They never mentioned her mother. Sam had an abusive mother. They didn't get along whatsoever, and we don't know anything about her father. And Freddie did have an abusive mother too. She was more on the overbearing helicopter parent side when it comes to the abuse spectrum. But never heard his dad's not in the picture. So that's just something that I noticed. Like, yeah. Carly is best friends with 2 characters named Sam and Freddie. Yeah, Sam and Freddie hate each other, but they both are BFFs with Carly. So, yeah. To be honest, if this was real life, that would not have worked at all. Like, Sam and Freddie hated each other up until the later seasons, but we'll get into that later. I hate to admit this, but iCarly is actually one of my favorite shows of all time. I haven't been wanting to admit it lately because I think Dan Schneider is such a garbage human being. He belongs in the trash. But It's just really like I hate the fact that A Horrible Man made my favorite show, and I have to give him. I have to admit it. I'm gonna stop pretending like it's not true. iCarly's one of my top three favorite shows of all time. Everybody knows my top three favorite shows are in no specific orders: The Parkers, iCarly, and 2003 Teen Titans. Okay, I'm sorry, iCarly's one of my favorite shows, but it's okay to acknowledge the wrong in the things that you like, and that's something that I really, really wish people would understand. And not only is iCarly my favorite show, iCarly literally kind of shaped our generation, okay? Like, iCarly is the reason why I and many other people started a YouTube channel. iCarly was responsible for my first ever web series called Reading Bad Fanfiction. And you know what Reading Bad Fanfiction is? You've been here way too long. You're great. Also, a lot of you guys have been asking me about my web series, Reading Bad Fanfiction. Yes, it's gonna come back. It's gonna come back, okay? I just gotta get myself situated, okay? Because I want to do something new and fun with the season. I don't want it to be repetitive like the last ones. But yes, my web show, Reading Bad Fanfiction, is coming back, okay? Just please be patient. Now, I personally think that neither Carly or Sam deserve Freddie Benson. And I honestly think Freddie was funnier than Carly and Sam. I'm sorry. He was funny. Like, he didn't have to be doing anything and I'd just be chuckling. He was, like, naturally funny. Where sometimes Carly and Sam were, like, trying too hard to be funny. And it's just like Freddie would just say whatever in his tone and whatnot. And I was just dying. I was just dying. And this is no shade to Miranda Cosgrove or Jeanette McCurdy. I'm just talking strictly about the script because Freddie had better one-liners than them two. I'm sorry, he did. Freddie was the real. Freddie Benson was treated horribly by everybody in his life, but for the sake of time, we're literally only going to talk about three people, and that is his mom, Carly, and Sam. Because if we made a video about like every little thing that happened to Freddie and how everybody in this show was just a horrible person to him, this video will be 2 hours long. Why did my door just open? Oh, I have the window open. I'm sorry. It's kind of toasty in here. But yeah, that video will literally be 2 hours long. And yeah, y'all would have a whole movie. That would be a freaking movie. Y'all are just getting the episodic. Okay? His mother, Marissa Benson, Mrs. Marissa Benson. First of all, why was her name Mrs. Benson? Because it's obvious that her and her partner weren't together. Why was she called Mrs. Benson? Who knows? Dan's weird. Anyway, she was extremely misogynistic. She had the biggest issues with Carly and Sam. As you know, like, Freddie's only really friends like that. The only boy he really hung out with, like, was Gibby and his AV club members, but they honestly weren't all that great. But Carly and Sam were like his BFFs for life. Sam, but that's another story. We'll get into Sam later. But she was extremely misogynistic to both of them. Like, she always felt as if anything bad that happened to Freddie was Carly and Sam's fault. And yes, I do believe a lot of the antics that Freddie was into was because of Carly and Sam. But a lot of that was like Freddie played a part in a lot of that stuff in what had happened. Like, I don't like how she always tried to blame the girly hormones on whenever Freddie started acting weird and whatnot. It's like she just saw every girl that came into Freddie's life as a threat, as if they were trying to replace her. And it's obvious that Freddie did have a lot of resentment towards her because of the way she treated him. We'll get to that in a minute, though. We're really just talking about like how she was always just extremely rude to Sam and Carly, and I really, really didn't like that. As if her son could do no wrong, and that all of everything that happened was because of those two girls. Kind of low-key racist because I remember she made a really rude comment about R&B music and the way she treated Tebow. We're not gonna get into that. We're not gonna get into that. Anyways, what she did for Freddie is that she gave him a bit of too much love. Like, Marissa Benson is literally the definition, the mascot of helicopter parents, okay? That's literally what she is. She's not a good parent at all, and I'll get to why I think she's a horrible parent, okay? Now, one thing I do gotta give Carly props for is that it's obvious that she did love her son, because I have seen a lot in other these kid shows where it's not like often, it's that the parents are really like absent or they're just neglectful and not all that great, like Amy Duncan and Mr. and Mrs. Vega. So it was nice to see a mother actually care for her son, but Went overboard to the point where it was controlling and it was making him really, really irritated with her. And that is so sad I feel like so many kids go through this at a stage in their life when they have overprotective parents. Because I went through it too, where their parents' love is just too much for them and they start to just like shove them away and resent them and whatnot. And I really could feel for Freddie a lot in this situation because they weren't like extreme like Mrs. Benson was, but I did have very overprotective parents, and I didn't really start to get a lot of freedom until I graduated high school, and not even that sometimes. Literally had a chip implanted in his brain so she could know about his whereabouts 24/7. He's a child, not a dog. Like, she was so afraid that he would choke on his pills that the doctor gave him, so she wouldn't, like, smash him up and put him in his food. And I'm like, just like, ma'am, you didn't even give him a chance to try to swallow the pills. Like, I'm sorry, I understand that you're being a careful parent, but kids gotta learn stuff, okay? I literally had to force myself how to learn how to swallow pills, okay? Because crushing them up was not the way to go, and I had to start taking, my medication is like liquid gels now, and I literally had to force myself to learn how to swallow pills. I know a lot of people think that's not that serious, but I'm like, no, eventually kids are gonna have to learn how to do certain things on their own, and you keep babying them through things like that. It's not helping them. I understand you're being there to care, but he gotta grow up. Freddie is not 4. He was like 14, 15. Like, I know he was grown towards the end, but like, nah. Speaking of Carly, she literally blamed Carly for the car accident that he got in, when really it was nobody's fault. I really don't understand how you can blame somebody for a car accident. Like, it's obvious that all of them were very scared by that. And the fact that you blame the girl that you know your son has attraction towards, and he probably like her more than he like you, on an accident, it's just very disgusting, Marissa. I'm sorry. You just get out. The door is right here for you, ma'am. Like, it gotten so bad at one point where Freddie moved out. He moved out because he was just so sick of his mother's BS, and that's extremely really sad. But the thing about that is that she said at the end that she would start being nicer to him. She would stop being so overbearing. She did not. Nothing changed about that. I feel like it's because this sitcom format where everything goes back to normal the next episode. But that's one thing I really wish they actually kept canon, that she did that, because it literally would have helped a lot of the kids and parents that were watching these shows, because they'll be like, oh, I'm doing too much to my kid. Because, you know, parents don't raise their kids no more. They put them in front of a television with some chicken nuggets and see, like, there, that's your day. And I think the worst thing she's ever done is that she tried to set her son's relationship up with Sam to fail. I thought that was really, really distasteful. I really, really thought that was just disgusting. Like, I understand. To be honest, I feel like she just really should have let Sam and Freddie handle that on their own without her butting into it, because the relationship was just them trying to figure out what works and what doesn't. Like, it was obvious from the beginning it wasn't gonna last anyway, and I feel like she should have put her nose in their business, but she was doing the most trying to set that relationship up for failure, and I thought it was extremely rude of her to do that. I understand that parents do care and have a say in who their kids can and can't date and whatnot, which I don't agree with all the way. Like, I understand if your parent, if there's somebody hurting you and yada yada yada, and I can see why she disliked Sam, because she saw the way Sam treated her son. But like I said, I felt like she just needed to stop making Freddie's decisions for him and let him figure out things on his own. Do I think Marissa Benson was a good person? Not really. Was she a good mother? No. Your child is not your property. I'm sorry. Your child's not your property. He is a human being. I'm so sorry. You're not a good mom. Like, literally, as the seasons went on, he just was pushing her further and further away because he was just fed up with her treatment towards him. And I don't blame him at all. Freddie literally is one of those kids that as soon as they graduate high school and go off to college, they don't come back. They don't come back. They don't even come back from winter break. They stay up there wherever their school is. They get a job. They get an apartment and whatnot. That literally was Freddie Benson. Moving on to Carly. Now, Carly and his relationship was a bit complex, I would say, because Carly Shay's not that great of a person as she thinks she is, and I'm not saying this because I hate Carly. I don't hate Carly. I think she's a pretty decent character, but I don't like how Carly always kind of paraded around like she was right about everything and that she was perfect, because she wasn't. Carly thought she was such a great person, and she was not. The background between Carly and Freddie is kind of strange because both of them were at fault for the way they treated each other, but overall it's weird. I'll get into it. Freddie does have a long-term crush on Carly, as he's liked her since they were in the 6th grade, but he is aware that Carly does not have feelings for him in return, and he is very respectful towards her decision on just wanting to stay friends. Now, one thing I don't get about Freddie is that sometimes he would be taking it a little too far, where sometimes he'll be like, date me. Sometimes he'll be like, I love you. Sometimes he'll be like, kiss me. And then Carly would like shut that down right away. And I was like, yes, girl, stay your ground. And then he'll back off immediately, as he should. Now, that's like the only time I can really see Freddie being nasty towards Carly. But if vice versa, what Carly done to Freddie, it allows Sam to push him around often, and she let her get away with it. And like sometimes she would stand up for Freddie and be like, hey Sam, can you not do that, yada yada yada. But I don't understand. My thing with this, like, Miss Carly Shay, you know good and well your best friends hate each other. Why are they always within 6 feet of each other? If I don't like you, I am not going to want to be around you 24/7. And that was the case with Sam and Freddie. They were always in each other's faces back and forth. And Carly literally kind of set both of them up for failure, okay? If they were never around each other, if Freddie hung out with Carly alone and Carly hung out with Sam alone, a lot of the issues between Sam and Freddie could have been avoided. Sometimes Carly is just as bad as Sam because she allowed it to keep happening. Like, she could have avoided a lot of the banter between Sam and Freddie if she didn't force them to hang out with each other all the time. Like I said, Carly was just as bad as Sam sometimes, but Freddie never treated Carly the way he treated Sam though. It's just kind of like Freddie let Carly get away with a little bit too much of what she would do and say to him simply because he just had a little crush on her that we all knew was never going to happen. She didn't have feelings for him. He had other interests. It's just they weren't good as a friendship, and that's it. They had great chemistry with each other as friends. Like, people were talking about how they actually had really, really good chemistry with each other. But yeah, like, not everybody's meant to date everybody, okay? Like, she set Freddie up to fail so many times by just having Sam in his presence. Like, sis, you could have helped this man. You was praying for his downfall. Like, I'm the type of person, like, if you want to have friends that don't like each other, fine. So be it. Whatever. But you cannot have them hang out with each other. Stop trying to force something that is not there. Stop trying to force your friends to like each other and whatnot. If she knew Sam and Freddie didn't like each other, she should have made separate plans to hang out with Sam, and she should have made separate plans to hang out with Freddie. I just don't get how you can do that. That's why I said, Carly, you're not that great of a person. You're not. That's like overall my main issue with Carly. It's just that she kind of was responsible for a lot of the banter between those two. Moving on from Carly. Miss Sam Puckett. This one's I don't really think this one's strange. I think this one may be a bit the most realistic of them all, in my opinion, if that makes sense. The most realistic one of them all. Before I even get started, there's this not even about Freddie, it's really just about Sam. There's this rumor, well, it is about Sam and Freddie because her behavior towards him intertwines with this. There's this rumor going around talking about Sam was actually supposed to be a black girl. She was based on a black girl, and I literally cannot find any evidence to back that information up. And I'm gonna tell y'all this real quick. Please stop getting your facts from TikTok and Twitter threads, okay? Because a lot of that information that y'all find over there is extremely false. It takes less than 10 seconds to go to Google and find reliable resources about a lot of the things. Like, yes, there is a lot of things not right about Dan. His work has issues. There's so much not right about it. But please do not go around making up lies to try to contribute to this wrongness, because I'm telling you, there is numerous. There is work on top of work on top of work on top of work about how bad this man is. You can literally go and watch his shows and pinpoint all of this stuff, but making up fake facts is just not the way to go. Like, I'm not sitting here defending this man and whatnot, but y'all, I don't like fake news. I don't do that. Like, please be right about your facts, y'all, okay? Please stop running to TikTok and Twitter for your news. Please just stop. Like, I understand that those people take advantage of TikTok and Twitter when it comes to news, because they know a lot of people do that. And yes, a lot of the sources on there are true. But there have been numerous times where it's not even with this fact right here. Well, I've seen it with other kid shows and whatnot, where people would lie about a lot of things that happen. And I'm just like, no, that is not true. Like, stop making up things that sound real and spreading around like they're honest, because they're not. So do not try to make up excuses for Sam as she had a bad home life. Like I said, just because she was abused does not give her the excuse to abuse other people. You do not repeat the cycle. You break the cycle, okay? I am not here for y'all over here defending Sam for her actions the same way I was not here for y'all defending Robbie Shapiro for his actions or Jay West for her actions, okay? Just because you are hurting on the inside does not mean that you get to project that hurt on somebody else. The main problem with iCarly is that they try to portray white girls bullying people as cute. That's my main problem with a lot of Hollywood movies in general, is that they portray white girls bullying people as cute. Because Sam was not the only white girl in this show that would bully people. There were numerous other girls in this show that did a lot of things that Sam did. Like, yeah, they probably weren't as feisty as Sam, or they weren't hitting people and whatnot, but all these little white girls were just mean. And yeah, it was just play for jokes. And the only time that bullying wasn't really play for jokes is when it was a black girl. When it was a black girl going around bullying people, she was seen as scary, while these women were over here portrayed to be empowered. And I'm just like, you're gross, Dan. You're gross. Speaking of that, Sam was Freddie's bully. She was his bully. Now, personally, in my opinion, I think Sam always had a crush on Freddie just from the beginning, because you know how people be talking about if somebody is picking on you, they have a crush on you. That's really what a lot of it just came off across as. But his hatred towards Sam, like in the beginning, like I say like the first season and like half up until season 2, his hatred for her was real, okay? It was real. Like, he literally had this girl come up to him and be rude to him for no reason. He had every right to dislike her. His feelings towards Sam were extremely valid, and because of their abusive friendship, I never really considered them to be real friends. I used to be a big Sadie shipper. I used to be hardcore Sadie. I used to read Sadie fan fiction, be fact-checking people, telling people that Sadie was real, yada yada. And yes, Sadie was real. I will address that. Do I still ship it? No, I am grown now. I have learned my ways and yada, yada, yada. I learned a right relationship from a wrong one. I'm doing better. I grew as a person. 12-year-old Harriyanna is different from 21-year-old Harriyanna, okay? But I also don't ship Freddie either. I never shipped Freddie from the beginning, and now I'm looking at it. It's actually a lot worse now than it was when I was younger. Has literally put her hands on Freddie multiple times throughout the show, and to a point where he actually hit her back one time, and I wasn't even mad at it all, okay? I blame him for hitting her back. I did not at all, because she has done it numerous times before, and she hit him for no reason, and he hit her right back, and I was just like, see, I love how throughout the show Freddie was standing up to Sam a lot more, because the way she was treating him was beyond ugly, and it was unacceptable. He knew if he wanted to hang out with his best friend, Carly, that he would have to suck it up and deal with the person he disliked the most, Sam, because that was also her best friend too. Like, Sam, literally, Carly always had her around for no reason, and that's honestly really sad. It's just like, to be honest, Carly kind of was only Freddie's real friend, and I don't really kind of consider them real friends. They are real friends, but their friendship had issues. It had a lot of issues. Like, I never really cared for Gibby. Gibby was just kind of there. They kind of treated Gibby like a toy, if you ask me. He was just there if they didn't have nobody else to talk to. That's why I don't really just see Gibby as a part of their friend group. That's why I didn't really include him in there. But Gibby did mistreat Freddie a lot too. As the show went on, we did start to see that he genuinely was warming up to Sam as they were like becoming more playful with their insults back and forth to each other, and they were actually hanging out and talking without Carly being around. But she was still pretty mean to him. Like, I'll just go through and say, like, what was going on with them. Like, it's obvious that they did catch feelings for each other, like that time they kissed and they didn't want to admit that they liked each other and yada yada yada. Literally insults him for no reason at all. Like, he literally can just say hi and she'd be like, give you the middle finger. Like, she will always have something to say about his interests, she has something to say about his clothes, and then she would mock his voice. I remember that one episode where Sam literally pissed me off the most, where she hacked the school's computer system and she let Freddie and Carly take the blame for it. Sam was honestly extremely selfish and she always put herself first unless it came to Carly. But that whole episode, she was just extremely rude to Freddie for no reason. Like, and it was also another episode where she literally owed him over $500. Like, how do you owe him that much money, Sam? Okay, like, and the thing about it is that you know she was literally taking it from him, because I know good and well he would not give her money. He would not give her money. It's like, what is Sam gonna do with this? I don't trust her. I truly feel like the only reason that Freddie dated Sam was because he genuinely just felt bad for her. As we know, Sam came from a broken home. She had an abusive mother. She was very distant to her sister. The only people in her life that she really was her family was Freddie, Carly, and Spencer. Like, literally, that's why she was always at Carly and Spencer's house. Like, she would have meals there all the time. She would sleep there and whatever. Like, they literally were all that she had. And I feel like he just knew about her just kind of not having anybody but them is why he just kind of stuck through it and put up with it. Like, it's just so obvious that Sam never had a good boyfriend. Like, we seen her boyfriends in and out, and the boys that she like were weird or they just never came back and yada yada yada. Her dynamic with Freddie was probably the healthiest, and that's saying something, because their dynamic was not great at all. It was family. They were like a dysfunctional family. And in the end, do I think Sam and Freddie, not Sam, Freddie's feelings for Sam were real? Yes, I do think him and they genuinely did love each other. I truly do believe that. But just because you love somebody does not mean y'all need to be together. Okay? It's just obvious that it's just like their relationship was built on years of abuse. That's how they got together, throughout abuse. That's how they got together. It's not cute at all, and it's extremely ugly that Nickelodeon had an entire debate about which abusive ship they wanted their viewers to have. Like, I don't really consider Freddie to be abusive like I did Seti, but it was toxic, okay? It was toxic, and I just hate how a kid's show, like I said, Dan, what is wrong with you over here thinking that this stuff is cute to show to children? I feel like kids need to see better relationships, okay? Like, it's so irritating. Like, it's so hard for me to think back to where, like, there actually was a healthy relationship on Nickelodeon. Like, I think you could say Logan and Quinn, but, like, they were hiding each other, so it wasn't all that healthy. Now, this video was long. I said, like, this video was 4 pages long in the outline. I'm so happy I got it done. I really enjoyed making this one right here. It's just, I always loved Freddie Benson. I always thought he was just such a great character. A lot of my personality was shaped after Freddie Benson when I was in high school, okay? And I still think I act a bit like Freddie Benson. But like I said, you guys want to see more of me, please check me out on Patreon. And please check me out on Instagram too, because it's a party over there on that pirate ship. Yes, thank you guys so much. I adore every single last one of you. Like I said, just please be respectful of me and I'll respect you back, because it has just been a bit much with the way a lot of you have been treating me. But yes, thank you guys for watching this video. I love every single last one of you. And yes, have a good night.